Richard here with the Woodland Rush YouTube channel, and in this video we'll be installing tyre studs in two different ways. One of them I bet you haven't seen before. We'll be replacing some questionable hub oil, refilling the front axle, and I'm taking you along for the ride. Alright, so I have a few different types of studs here. I have these tiny ones here, which are meant for things like ATVs and cars. I have these installed in my logging shoes, which is absolutely genius. They are quite short, so they don't go through the soles of your shoes. And they're also perfect for use in older tires that have a bit of a worn tread. And then I have quite a step up from there, which are these heavy equipment type of studs. Now these are the shorter kind for use in more worn tires. And then I have these, which are probably one of the biggest ones they make, which are intended for newer tires, or at least tires where you have a lot of tread left. And then I also have a couple of these brand new ones, which are from a different brand. They are slightly more narrow than the other ones, but I did install a couple of these last year and I drove on them for the entire snow plowing season. I did try to pick out a couple of used ones from my bins here to show you guys, but they're very difficult to tell apart from the other ones. I haven't noticed any difference in quality between these two brands, so my guess is that they're just about as good. The one thing I will highly suggest is that when you go to buy tire studs, you buy the ones with these types of treads. I'll go ahead and leave some links in the description for you so that you can get the right ones. Now, the last type of stud that I have is probably of no interest to you, but I thought I'd show you anyway. These studs, as you can see, do not have any treads on them. And so you might be wondering how you're supposed to install these. Well, I'll show you. And the first thing you want to do is get a drill bit and measure your stud. And you'll measure to the top shoulder of the stud and put a tape around your drill bit at the base of the stud. Once you've done that, you'll want to find your drill and attach your drill bit, of course. Now for the fun part. I'm going to be installing these studs in the front ATV tires. As you can see, I've already done a few. So let's install a stud in this knot right here, and very carefully you'll drill a hole until the tape touches the tread. And now you're probably wondering how we're supposed to get this stud inside of that tiny hole there. Well, that's what this is for. This is called a stud gun. It's important to put them the right way in here, otherwise they'll go upside down into the tire. I've done that before. So just go ahead and load this tube full of studs all the way to the top. And so the way this works is that we'll push these prongs into the hole. And when we press the trigger, these prongs will expand and open up the hole. Then there's a small bolt inside the gun that will push the stud into the hole. Pull the gun out and the stud is left behind. Let's see it in action. Pull the trigger. And there you have it. Stud is left behind inside the hole. Let me show you another one here. Alright, I'm going to drill a couple more holes here and see if we can finish up this tyre. Now, sometimes you'll have one of these that don't seat properly, like this one. As you can see, this is protruding too much. So you want to fix that, which is quite easy. You can just take a pair of pliers and you can pull it out. Then you can put in a new one. There we go. All right, well, this tire is done now. I did the right side the other day, so that means both front tires are done. Not all of them came out perfect. You can see this one is a bit too far in. That one is perfect, exactly as it should be. And then this is a bit too far out. That one's almost perfect. This is how they should be. So yeah, it's a bit difficult to get them perfect with the drill bit. In my experience, they don't have to be absolutely perfect. They'll still stay in the tire and do their job. So yeah, both front tires are studded now. I've decided I'm going to use chains for the back ones. I've already ordered 2 sets and they should be arriving in the mail pretty soon. Now to figure out what type of studs will fit your tires, you can use either one of these or just some calipers or anything else you have to measure with. Now basically what you want to do is measure your tire treads. Now this tool is specifically made to measure tire treads. Now they're quite cheap and very handy to have around, so I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go check it out. But all you do is push this down, put it between your treads, and then we'll push this base down to the treads. And then we can read the depth on the gauge here. There's both metric and imperial. And so these treads are about 12 mil, which is equivalent to 1530 seconds. I have no clue what that means, but maybe you do. You'll want to measure where you'll be putting studs, of course. And you should probably also measure in a couple of different places. Like right here, it is just about 10 mil. It can vary, especially if your tire is old and worn. But the idea here is that you don't want to buy studs that'll penetrate deeper than your treads. Now in my experience on the tractor tires, I've installed studs that have gone a little bit further than the treads, which has been completely fine. Now on these tires, I'll be a little bit more careful because they're obviously not as thick as the tractor tires. Now if you're going to be buying screw-in studs for tires like this, then these ones are the equivalent to the ones we've installed here. But you can install bigger ones if you want to. They just have to be a little bit shorter, right, than the ones I have for the tractor. And then once you have your measurements here, then you can go ahead and order some studs that'll fit. I'll go ahead and leave some links to typical ATV studs and also some tractor tire studs in the description below. So what do I think about these studs? Well, I think they're very good. So I have 3 studs here. I have one brand new one. I have one that's been used for 1 season. And I have a third one here that's been used for 2 seasons. Now you can clearly see the difference. The one that's been used for 1 season is barely even worn. And the one that's been used for 2 seasons, I mean, you can tell that it's worn a little bit, but not much. My original plan with these were to install them in the tires and then buy a set of summer tires, just regular tractor tires, right? And leave these installed in the winter tires. I haven't done that obviously, but that does cause an issue because you can't reinstall these in the same holes that you had previously. So every time you go to reinstall them, you have to find a new spot and eventually you'll run out of spots to put them. So I'm gonna have to do something after this season, and the best option is to go ahead and buy a set of tractor tires with rims so that I can just swap between summer and winter. Now for those of you who don't know, tire studs are used to increase the grip of your tires on snow and ice. They do help a lot in my experience. I have them on my car, I have them on the tractor for snow plowing, and now I also have them on the front wheels for the ATV. I will be using chains on the back wheels of it though, and that's just because I'm going to be using the ATV mostly off-road, and chains are just better for that. Studs, in my opinion, are way better for driving at higher speeds and on paved roads, and are absolutely perfect for snow plowing with the tractor. Chains would just be a hassle for me. I'm driving 50 kilometers an hour with that tractor, and they're not good for the bearings and stuff on the tractor. They'll throw off the balance of the wheel. So driving at those high speeds with chains through the entire season would not be good for the tractor. So these screw-in studs are types of studs that you can install yourself quite easily. All you need is a drill, and the studs come with this tool that you're going to be using. You'll put the tool into the drill, and the studs have these grooves that fit into the tool, and you'll just drive them in just like a regular screw almost. The one thing I would stay away from are those cheaper Chinese studs. You can quite easily tell them apart by the type of tread that the stud has. So these are the ones I recommend. If you want to go ahead and try the cheaper Chinese stuff, go right ahead. They might be decent for certain applications like old tires and ATVs and stuff like that. I'm not sure. But if you want my recommendation, go with these. Alright, so these are the tires we'll be installing the bigger studs in, and I'm using the longer ones where I have plenty of tread left. Now the wall of this tire is pretty thick, and in my experience you can go a little bit further than the actual treads here without much issue. But you'll want to be very careful once you reach the bottom of the treads here, because you could puncture your tires. And that is why I have the shorter version as well. And these are the ones I'll be using for where the tire is worn the most. But the back wheels have plenty enough tread left to where I can use the long ones almost everywhere. Alright, let's install the first stud here. Let's put the stud in the tool, and then you'll want to apply a lot of pressure to this, like as much as you can. And there you have it. And so just to show you with my fat fingers here, all the way from here, from the shoulder here, and all the way down, all of this goes into the tire. The only thing that should be protruding is the stud itself. This gray tip here is tungsten carbide, and it goes, I don't know, probably down to about here maybe. I'm not sure exactly how far it goes, but it is designed so that this metal wears faster than the tungsten, of course, and that way the tungsten tip is always protruding more than the stud itself. That's just about perfect right there. All right, well that's 7 done. Only 993 more to go. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some music and do the rest of these. Wish me luck. See you in a bit. All right, I've done everything I can access currently on the front and back tires. I've done 1 stud in each knob on the front tires. Here's the other tire. Last season I had 2 studs in each knob, but there's not enough space to safely do that. So this is probably the last time I can stud these. Hopefully I can just leave them in now and buy some regular tractor tires for summertime use. And then for the back tires where the knobs are a little bit bigger, I'm alternating between 2 and 1. So I'm doing 1, 2, 2, 1. For the most part anyway. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Now in order to access the rest of the tires, I'm going to try to just lift up the front end of the tractor using the loader in here. So then I can do the front tires, and for the back tires, I'm not really sure. I might just do what I did last year by jacking it up and running the engine to turn the wheels. Either that or I'm gonna have to drive outside and just do them as I drive, sort of. Now, if a valve or a hose blows here, then the tractor will come crashing down. So you got to be very careful with hydraulics. Now, that's something I say, not always something I practice, but you've been warned. Do as I say, don't do as I do. Okay? Yeah, I know, I just went underneath it. All right, so now I should be able to spin these wheels. And then I can do the rest of these. Let's get some of the dirt off. All right, I'm gonna do the rest off camera. See you in a bit. All right, I'm finally done with both front tires, which is very nice. I still gotta figure out a nice way to do the back wheels. But I was thinking, since we have the front axle up off the ground now, it's a nice opportunity to change the hub oil. So let's go ahead and do that. Can you see that? There's a tiny, tiny shaving right there. Shavings are not good. Then let's do the other side. No shavings on this one. All right, well that's nice. I've changed the oil on both hubs. I also went to refill the front axle, which took about 100 mil, so that was basically not even worth it, but it's nice to be sure. So that's nice, and the tractor is actually due for a service pretty soon. So that's going to be a future video. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. And what we have left to do now is studying the back wheels. I think I'm just going to drive it a little bit forward and jack up the rear end. So let's go ahead and do that. that gives us a new slate on a wheel that we can install studs on. If you like these videos and you would like to support me, then you can do so by hitting that like button and leaving a comment as well. Doesn't have to be anything, just a smiley or like a question mark, doesn't matter what it is. It really helps a lot, more than you probably think. And just from one person doing that, just from you doing that, it does actually help a lot. And just know that I appreciate it a lot if you do, because this YouTube thing is very difficult. Now, if you'd like to support me even further than that, then there's a link in the description where you can go and buy me a cup of coffee if that's something you're interested in. That is, of course, never something I expect people to do, but it's there as an option. There's also like a thanks feature and a join feature on YouTube, like right below the video in the description. You can click join and thanks, I think. But it is absolutely not required, and I do not expect you to do it. But no matter what you decide to do, I appreciate you watching, and I think it's really rewarding to share videos that you enjoy. I'm gonna do the rest of these and I'll see you in a bit. Ugh. My hands are so tired right now. I've been doing this for about 3 hours, but now it's the last couple of studs going in, so that's gonna be nice. And that's the last one, I think. Alright, well I think that's pretty good. We got all the studs installed here. As you can see, the pattern isn't exactly synchronized. That's the problem you run into whenever you go to uninstall these studs every year, because eventually you'll run out of places to put them. You can't put them, or you shouldn't put them, in the same holes that you already had them last year. So hopefully this will be the last time I put these studs in here. Better start looking for some used tractor tires. But yeah, I'm quite happy with what we accomplished today. We changed out the hub oil and refilled the axle oil, which wasn't really necessary. And we've studded the entire tractor and also the Polaris. So that's good. Now in the next video, we'll probably be taking this Polaris here for a test run. And I also have a job for this and the excavator, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. Now, if you want to support me, you can do so by hitting that like button and writing a comment. That really helps a lot. And while you're there, there's also a subscribe button too. Yeah, but that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.